Don't worry. Maybe you can find an old-fashioned house that needs an old-fashioned cat.
Mortality, depression, and the sense of feeling worthless. Tom and Jerry is a beloved show that I assume is familiar to everyone watching, but the majority of you would probably not associate it with the terms I just used, right? I mean, what does Tom and Jerry, a classic kid show, have to do with mortality, depression, and the sense of worthlessness? Well, that's exactly what we'll be tackling in today's episode of The Meaning of Nerd Show, a high-production video series focused on analyzing the philosophy behind your favorite cartoons, anime, and more. And so, today, we'll be diving deep into Tom and Jerry to find out about some of the darkest truths about life that this show has to offer. Life lessons that are hard to accept, but brutally important to learn. The very darkest life lessons from Tom and Jerry.
Thomas, come in here and see what I've got. Thomas, meet McCannell. Mr. McCannell here is taking your job as mouse catcher.
We humans, what do we value? What do you value, for example? Maybe it's money or a car or simply the help you get from others. Whatever it is though, also consider why you value it in the first place. Well, in my opinion, we humans, we value things that are beneficial to us, and we do so because that makes our brains know to pursue them further in the future. But what if we are not talking about objects and goals, but rather other humans? After all, you also value some humans more than others. Some you like to spend your time with, and others, well, not so much. And so the questions that arise from it are, how much is a human worth? And by what terms do we set that worth? Believe it or not, you do judge everyone else's value according to your own benefit, either consciously or subconsciously. Because without realizing it, you start spending more time with people who are of good use to you and avoid the ones that appear to pose a net negative to your life. And I'm not passing moral judgment here, just saying how I see things. But if you agree with me that you judge others based on what they offer you, then maybe you should also ask yourself, what am I worth to others? Am I only worth as much as I provide? Is there no love that could maybe make up for my potential uselessness? Tom and Jerry tackles this somewhat depressing truth perfectly in many episodes. All over the show, you can see how Tom's owner threatens to kick him out if he doesn't get his act together and become better at catching Jerry. It's an often repeated trope that is sometimes brought to its logical conclusion in episodes like Push Button Kitty, an episode where Tom gets kicked out of the house for being a useless cat, perfectly showing how people in the show, and in real life as well, will judge you based on your usefulness. And so, don't think you're some kind of special snowflake who is surrounded by people who love you. The harsh truth is that you probably offer them something in return. After all, that's also a huge part of what love is. It's a process of giving and taking. Once you stop giving, don't be surprised if there's nothing more for you to take. So be aware of that. Don't let it influence your sense of self-worth, but be aware that that's how life works. Within a society, if you have no money, no means, and nothing to offer, oftentimes you have no value either. And especially so if you're a man. And you may very well disagree with me here, but as Chris Rock once put it,
only women, children, and dogs are loved unconditionally. A man is only loved under the condition that he provides something. Okay? I've never heard a woman in my life say, you know, after he got laid off, we got so much closer. That's right. Fellas, when you meet a new girl, what do your friends ask you? What she look like? Ladies, when you meet a new guy, what do your friends ask you? What does he do? What the fuck does that nigga do that can help you out?
Thomas, just a minute. Oh. Apparently your whole life was spent persecuting an innocent little mouse. With a record like that, I can't let you through. I'm sorry, Tom.
So, what goes around comes around, right? To introduce the second lesson, I'd like to focus on two classic Tom and Jerry episodes, Heavenly Puss and The Year of the Mouse. I love to juxtapose these two in particular because they're basically telling the same story from a different perspective. On one side, you have Tom using excessive force to chase Jerry like usually, and on the other side, you have Jerry once again going too far when trying to prank Tom. In both cases though, they get what they deserve. Tom is sentenced to hell if he doesn't make the peace with Jerry, making him fall into a pit of despair and anguish, and Jerry is captured and then trapped by Tom, who has had enough of being tricked into thinking he wanted to commit suicide. Perfectly presenting the concept of karma. Whatever you put out into the universe will come back to you in unexpected ways. So watch out how you treat others, because karma is not just a religious concept, there's also a simply logical way of looking at it. If you mistreat someone, then don't be surprised if they either are unwilling to help you in the future, or worse, become an enemy that you have to watch out for. As you treat life, so too will it treat you back. And a quick somber note on this topic is the subject of eternal recurrence, a concept often attributed to various philosophers, from the ancient Stoics all the way to Nietzsche. It's basically the belief that the universe and all the existence within it has been recurring and will continue to recur in a similar form an infinite amount of times across infinite time and space. Basically, life has, does, and will always keep repeating itself, forming the cycle that allows karma to exist in the first place. And whether or not this ends up being a dark lesson strongly depends on your personal perspective. Do you see this cycle as an opportunity to start fresh every time anew and find new meanings to keep on living? Or do you embrace nihilism and believe it all to be pointless since things will repeat themselves anyway as they have before? In other words, what does it matter what I do now and what comes back around to haunt me? Because in the end, my own mortality will end it all anyway.
Poor Tom. In a few minutes it'll all be over. And for the first time since he met her, he'll be happy. Poor, miserable, lovesick creature.
Oh love, so complicated yet so simple, so beautiful yet so tragic. This next lesson is for all of you who have gone through or are currently experiencing heartbreak. Love is a tricky thing. It can give you the motivation and strength to wage wars to conquer it, but it can also cause a rift big enough inside your heart to wage war against yourself. Love will make you do stupid things that seem so naive and senseless to everyone else, but to you, since you're in love, it feels just right. And episodes like Solid Serenade and Blue Cat Blues demonstrate this beautifully well. The harsh truth that love hurts. It will make your sense of self-worth be formed entirely around the person you love, and therefore make you more vulnerable and susceptible to loss like never before. And so, as shown in the episode Blue Cat Blues, if you lose that love, that which you thought made you whole, may God give you strength to overcome it. Because if you don't, if you allow this loss to take you down to the darkest abyss, you may never return from it. I talked a lot more about Blue Cat Blues in my last Tom and Jerry video, so feel free to check that one out at the end of this video. I go in depth on the topic of heartbreak and my own experience with it. For now though, to end this on a bright note, let me tell you, if you're going through heartbreak as I speak, just know that whatever made that relationship so special, so unique and so amazing, well, at least 50% of that was you. Meaning that you have the possibility, if you truly wish, to create something just as special, unique, and amazing once again. Thanks for watching guys, I really hope you enjoyed the video. Over here we use philosophy and psychology to better understand life and to find our own meaning within it. There are many exciting things coming up, so if I were you, I'd subscribe and turn on notifications to stay up to date. See ya!
Never stop running. Now go!